does the win-loss equate to a better offense or a better defense? And we're going to score more points than we did last year.
There's a shift in their personnel. Like, you can see it across their depth chart.
They have to be men amongst boys. I don't think we're going to get dominated like we have in the past.
But I did have a Lions question for you guys. And look, you guys, I got to qualify this because I know this is going to get spun, but I'll say it. I am a Lions optimist. In particular, very much a Brad Holmes optimist. And you guys know my reasons. It's financial, it's what they value, cap space, draft capital, etc. The way teams win now. So with that being said, for all the goodwill towards men that there is this Lions season, when you talk about, and people are out there, right? There are some people that expect, Ryan Armani on the bougie line with their motion graphics and everything on the back screen. He went 11-5 or something like that. He expects him to win the division, close on a 6-game winning streak. 11-6. Excuse, I'm still wired it that way.
Gotcha, bro.
I appreciate you. I look at the depth chart, and through everything that's different in terms of draft capital and cap space, what's different on the field? Really? Like, what as we look at across that roster right now, what suggests an 8-game turnaround? And remember, the Bengals had a 7-game turnaround last year.
I think Mr. Amani got into my bag and might have been poking around and he ate something he shouldn't have or smoked something he shouldn't have. That was out of my... That's a little bit high.
It's a little bit elevated.
A little bit elevated. When you make that question, right, what's changed? So I ask you the question back is, well, where do you see the biggest improvement? Does the win-loss equate to a better offense or a better defense? Right? Now we can say, both of them have to improve to get better and stuff like this. But to me, goes back to our conversation yesterday about the offensive line. Frank Ragnow. Another year of Penei Sewell. Jonah Jackson. Taylor Decker. This offensive line with DJ Chark, right? You got Hawkinson, who's got to prove it year to get paid. Amon-Ra St. Brown coming back. The running back crew, led by DeAndre Swift. And then we're just waiting on Jameson Williams, who has not put that football down since he's been in Detroit, which tells you something. So you got to think, and I bring that up, so we're going to put more points on the board. That's what I'm thinking. We're going to score more points than we did last year. Now, are we able to is our defense going to get better? Who knows? But just with the addition of an Aiden Hutchinson, right, you'd think that automatically, well, you got to be at least 1 point better or 2 points better, right, just by adding him. Plus, here's the one thing, Neil, that everybody forgets. It's called development. It's called a year under. All these rookies last year have a year under the belt with this organization, with this culture in place. Maybe it gets a little bit easier. What do I mean by that? Maybe you don't have to, maybe you got the playbook down. Maybe they add a little bit more things. Maybe as they grow, as the team on defense, Aaron Glenn's able to implement something else. We still don't know. We have questions about different cornerbacks. We have questions about different linebackers, what's coming out of there. But to me, I think what's different, and it starts with Frank Ragnow. On offense, I think this offense will put up more points. Does it equate to wins? I got them at 8-9, right? I got them there. And later on, before the season, we'll go through the schedule. Right, where I think this is a year, Neil, where they win a few games in a row, lose a few games in a row, but they're right around 500 for most of the year, maybe a couple games under at a point, but they're going to play better. And to me, the development, to answer your question, is because I think the offense is better. I think Jared Goff is better because of everything that we said. So we're going to put up, I don't know what the average of points we put up last year, but I think we're going to probably, on average, put up 7 points more. Just whether it's better field goal position, whether it's, just with the weapons that we have on the offense. And then, the big question mark to your question you asked is defense. Because there's a lot of unprovens or a lot of young guys looking to make that next step.
And I wonder, are people by that rationale then are lying? And look, it's a big ask to cross compare, but the Jaguars are playing tonight. They went out, they were aggressive, they signed a lot of guys. They have high defensive draft picks that they took as well. They have a lot of defensive players that they drafted. There's a shift in their personnel, like you can see it across their depth chart. By that rationale, then, do people feel the same way about Jacksonville? Do you expect a big jump out of them? And I only ask for the cross compare. You know what I'm saying? As it relates to the Lions, because through all of it, and yes, health is the thing. But I would counter that again if you're going to be the devil's advocate. I would counter that by saying, well, D-Mac, there's going to be injuries again. There's for every team.
Absolutely.
There's injuries.
So here's the thing. At the end of the day, they have a lot of different questions too. Obviously, can Trevor Lawrence develop? Some of these young guys, that they've drafted in the last few years, they have talent, right? They've spent money. So can they come together? I don't know what the culture is there, but again, it's not the same old Jacksonville Jaguars team. Maybe that's something that you turn the TV on in the preseason tonight. The Hall of Fame game, you throw it on there just to see if they look different, right? If they look more like a team. The thing about Jacksonville is the same thing you think about Detroit. There's behind the scenes, it was always in the organization, wasn't running well, same old Lions, same old Jags. Well, we'll see if something's different. We know, we expect, we hear, we're waiting to see if things are different here with the Lions, but to the point you make about the Jags, that's what every other team goes to camp. They don't think they're getting worse.
Right. No, and I get it. Yeah.
They think that they're at where they want to be at, and they've added the players that they thought they needed to add. So, time will tell, but you got to like what you're hearing coming out of Allen Park. But I think it's, really the development of that offense. I go back to that. Those offensive line got to, just what we're hearing, they have to be men amongst boys, because that's where you're going to get the respect from across the team when you own them in the trenches. And I go back to Dan Campbell last year. First interview is that we're going to develop this team from the trenches out. Well, they're showing me that.
And they're showing you. Yeah.
They're showing me on offense they've done that. Now they got to show me on defense, but it looks like they've got the players in place to develop.
What about it, Sam Flannel? What's your take on that? Am I crazy here? You're the legend killer, so we go to you.
So I don't think you're crazy, because you look at it, a lot of their personnel is the same. But I look at last year in two parts. I look at this year being maybe a continuation of how they ended last season, because they have a guy like Ben Johnson who they elevated.
Preach.
And I think that Dan Campbell firing Anthony Land or demoting him might be a pivotal moment in Detroit Lions history.
Pivotal.
Because this season you're also going to have Frank Ragnow hopefully playing more than 4 games.
Big Frank!
Arguably the best center in the NFL, definitely top 3 to 5. You added a piece like Jamison Williams, who offers
kills.
Super duper speed, like maybe one of the fastest players in the league the second he steps on the floor.
And look, and I get that, but he's missing, Pup is 4 weeks this year.
Wasn't there something that if he's on it at the beginning of the season, but if he's not, I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah. I know they changed the Pup rules this year.
There's something that he could still be, if he's not on the list. We could see him earlier than we think.
If he starts the season on the PUP list, he has to miss at least 4 games.
Four games.
Yeah.
So that's 25% of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, your season can be decided before he even steps on the field. Like, this is the reality. Like, I know that we're speaking in generalities and hope is high and things like that, but this is the reality right now. That season, especially with the Lions, and I'm telling you guys, like, we talk about the schedule and it's easy, and I'm seeing that a lot in the YouTube chat thread. That second quarter is a monster, and it puts a lot of pressure on those first 4 games.
I don't think that schedule, whatever it says, one of the easiest ones. If you look at it, no, it should be. There's a lot of games. Like, the big difference this year might be, Neil, is that in these games, into the 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and you have to learn how to pull these games out. But we should be more competitive. We shouldn't see the Philadelphia game where we got blown out and didn't even have a chance, right? We're just totally dominated. I don't think we're going to get dominated like we have in the past.
Well, I'll give you 3 other additions that I didn't even mention. How about my guy, Aiden Hutchinson? Giving them, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, a guy who's coming in as the number 2 pick.
Feel that breeze.
Going to give you 14
Feel
sacks.
That breeze.
I think he will give you 12.
Feel that breeze.
But at the very least, I think he will step in and be the best pass rusher on the team right away, because last year it was Charles Harris, and I don't consider him a great pass rusher, although he was very good. What about a guy like DJ Chark? I don't think the Lions had that element last year, kind of that down the floor, down the field, deep, stretch the field kind of guy. And another one that I feel like has gone a little bit under the radar that could help out a lot. What about Deshaun Elliott? The Detroit Lions they were weak in the secondary last year, and they could be weak in the secondary this year. But having another safety, a kind of a hard hitter, a guy who can maybe help out in the run if he stays healthy, be a hard hitter, possibly help out in pass coverage, maybe guard a tight end or a running back every once in a while. I think that's huge, and I think those are all elements, along with the development of Penei Sewell, the development of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff being comfortable in the Ben Johnson system that he ran partially last year with him being the passing game coordinator. I think those are the main things that are different coming into this year than last year.
You know what? The Deshaun Elliott factor is something I did forget about. Like, I'll be honest with it. I did forget about him. So, you know, it's something where he's going to walk in, he's going to start, he's going to be the guy. It's going to be him and Tracy Walker. And look, we talked about it yesterday. If this team's going to win games, I'm not saying improve, they're going to win games, the defense has to be better, man. Like, it has to be.
Well, the biggest question marks out there are corners. You know, like it
has to be at least average.
The big questions are Akuda, our secondary, right, and the speed of our linebackers and stuff. But you could see it slowly coming into play. But still, there's a lot of work still to be done on the defense. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, and that's what it is for me. Is I've been harping on it since I heard it for the first time, is how they're changing the defense, the new look defense they're bringing, where it's not going to be read and react anymore. It's going to be attack, 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 and that's going to help that defensive line get pressure on the quarterback, which ultimately stems to every other part of the defense being better, especially if you can get that push up the middle with guys like Ali McNeil and Levi Ozarike. That will help those corners. Like, I looked at Omani Omoari. I couldn't think of his name. Drew. Like, his numbers were comparable to Xavier. I can't think of his name either. From the guy from the Dolphins. What's his name, Sam?
Is that Xavier Howard?
Xavier Howard. He was comparable to Omani Omoari's numbers. He was 3rd in quarterback rating allowed, 3rd in interceptions, only let up 2 touchdowns all year, and that was without a pass rush last year. So getting that pass rush, I think, will help that defense a lot more, and that can translate to wins.